Welcome back. And now South Africa is closing the so-called de minimis loophole that has fueled the rapid growth of ultra-fast fashion online retailers like Shein and Temu. Starting from the 1st of July, parcels under 500 Rand from Chinese retailers will face the same 45% tariff cost and 15% VAT on the total amount that local sellers importing textiles have been subject to. This is in an aim to level the playing field to ensure fair competition. And joining me now to provide greater perspective on the import duty enforcement in SA is founder of the Institute for International Tax and Finance, Michael Kransdorff. Thank you so much for your time, Michael. I really just want to understand the tax implications because there seems to be quite a lot of noise, but we're not really getting to the simplistic explanation of it. So just to start off with, what I'm understanding here is that we've been operating under what is called the de minimis tax rule. What has that entailed?
Thanks very much for having me on the show. Yes, so as you explained, yes, when you import goods that are worth less than 500 Rand, previously the situation was that they weren't subject to VAT, and they were only subject to import duties at 20%. The idea behind this is really an administrative issue for SARS, that if it's a small amount of money, it's not worth their admin for them to go through to check the goods and to make sure that the right duties are applied. And so all goods under 500, they just assume a small zero VAT and 20% import duties. But what this means is that this has created an unfair advantage to people like, platforms like Shein and Temu that are selling small value items that are coming into the country at a much cheaper price than they would if they were being imported in bulk and sold by South African retailers. So this is creating a bad situation for South African retailers and putting South African retailers under pressure. And they've approached the government to relook at this loophole. And from the 1st of July, this will no longer be the case. So even if you import something under 500 Rand after the 1st of July, the normal import duties of 45% will apply and a VAT rate of 15%. What that basically means is that the price of the things that you like to buy on Temu are going to go up quite dramatically, actually, from the 1st of July.
Is the issue here the actual rule, Michael, or just that it was maybe abused, that these retailers just turned it into a loophole?
The rule has merit. As I said, it was designed really to help from an administrative point of view to reduce the burden on stores, and small amounts don't require a lot of effort on the part of the customs authority. But it was abused, as you said, and these retailers smartly were able to take advantage of it. And that sort of put pressure on South African retailers, and now the loophole's being closed. Interestingly, we're not the only country that's dealing with this. The USA has had a similar situation where their retailers have been put under pressure by the same Chinese retailers, and they've also decided to reduce their de minimis rules. So this is an international trend that we're seeing, that countries are feeling threatened. Temu and Shein have been very smart and have seen this loophole and taken advantage of it, and now countries are trying to shut it down to protect their own domestic retail industry.
I mean, just talking about this abuse, because I think it's very easy to say, to blame the overseas merchants. And obviously, I hear you on saying that, SARS also was just trying to have less admin. But also, what role do the local courier companies play? Is there a role that they played in this kind of abuse of this rule?
Well, they were the ones that were responsible for doing the clearing. They were responsible for doing the clearing for customs perspective, and they obviously understood the loophole, and they were the ones that clearly advised Shein and Temu to how to take advantage of it. So they were involved. I mean, in tax avoidance is not the same as tax evasion. If there's a loophole in the law, if you're allowed to take legitimate means to prevent, to maximize or to minimize your tax. But then obviously the revenue authority is entitled to come and change the law to shut those loopholes. So we see loopholes all the time that SARS becomes aware of, and then closes those gaps once they've been notified. So this is one of those examples.
Okay, and that's only for parcels that are worth less than 500. Nothing changes for parcels now that are over 500. Everything just carries on as normal there.
Exactly, yes.
All right.
So it's for small items.
All
yes,
right.
exactly.
Let's just do simple math here for our viewers so that our viewers can be able to calculate how much they will be able to pay. So let's say I order something for 100 Rand from Shein or Temu. So now this import tax has increased from 20% to 45%, right? So you'll be paying 45% import tax, and then 15%, which is 15% on 145, right? Am I getting the math right? So you'll be paying about over 166 Rand for a 100 Rand parcel.
Exactly. Before you were paying 120, and now you'll be paying 160.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that is a big difference in this tough economic environment. In terms of now, because obviously with this abuse and miscalculations of all these import duties, SARS has lost a lot of money. Is there any recourse for them to take at any point, or is it just a thing that's happened and now all we need to do is focus on what we need to get going forward?
So I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't say this is a case of tax evasion. There hasn't been something that's done wrong. There was a loophole in the legislation that people were able to take advantage of, and so I don't think SARS will be able to recover what they've lost. So what they've done is they've closed the loophole. So going forward, there won't be this leak carrying on in there. So I don't think they'll be able to retrospectively do anything, but going forward, people will pay more, the prices will go up, and they'll collect quite a lot more taxes in VAT and customs duty.
But now also that means more of a burden on SARS, as you said, that they were running away from that admin, but now they'll need to get more muscle onto their management of their systems.
Exactly, and delays, unfortunately, because what this will mean is there's going to be a lot more checking, so expect, some delays in your purchases. It will take longer for these goods to clear, and so your parcels might take a little bit longer than they had previously. But yes, there will be an extra burden for SARS for this, yeah.
I cannot imagine the traffic and the delays that we might see in December already. That was a big problem. But thank you so much for your time and just simplifying this tax issue for us, Michael. Really appreciate the time. That was founder of the Institute for International Tax and Finance, Michael Kransdorff.